Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, in 2018, Meliana, a 44-year-old Chinese-Indonesian woman, was convicted into 18 months of prison on August 21st, 2018, for religious blasphemy due to her comment about a mosque speaker near her house in Tanjung Balai, Sumut. Citizens, who are provoked by Muslim radicals, became angered by this issue, destroyed Meliana's house, and burned local viharas. On January 23, 2017, approximately 8 citizens were convicted into 1 to 2 months at most in prison for it. Meliana's family, as well as Meliana herself, suffered major trauma from the incident and decided to move to another city. Chinese-Indonesian voices have little impact on Indonesia's judicial system, and issues of inequality, ethnocentric beliefs, as well as dark historical past have scarred Indonesian society. Whereas Pancasila and UUD 1945 no longer serves its fullest purpose. If Meliana, who's a double minority, has struggled so much to achieve justice, can you imagine the struggle for individuals like Ahok, who are attacked for being a Christian as well? It is aggravating to say that Indonesian society has proven that the failed actualization of Pancasila has resulted in the continued discrimination of the Christian Chinese population. Uniting a country with 17,508 islands, as well as owning over 300 cultures and 5 official religions, is sure to be tough. Furthermore, if we are to discuss the world of politics in this country, it'll be a never-ending debate, since it has a broad spectrum. It is complex and subjective. There are so many ideals being put time after time to operate a country. One thing's for sure is that the founding fathers of this country established Pancasila with its 5 principles as Indonesia's ideology for a reason. A reason which aims to create tolerance inside this multicultural country. A reason that may never be actualized if we can't identify and understand the importance of Pancasila as living principles in our daily lives, inside and outside the government. If we are to dissect history itself, discriminatory actions towards minorities have occurred since the time of colonialism, and it is an ongoing issue to this very day. When we look closer to the issue of discrimination towards race and religion in this country, we can identify 2 specific names that are considered sensitive in Indonesian society: Chinese and Christianity. How so? History firstly showed numerous anti-Chinese movements since the era of Sukarno, highlighting the famous G30 SPKI riot in 1965. Secondly, the 1998 riot during Suharto's era against the ethnic Chinese, due to the 1997 financial crisis. Both riots are written in history to show how Indonesia has failed to uphold human rights, which are identified to be the sole identity of a country of law. The 1999 Reformation era serves as a time of healing for the ethnic Chinese, when Gus Dur legalized Confucianism and Chinese New Year as an official holiday. As human rights grew in Indonesia, so did the freedom of speech and opinion, which flared radical Islamic parties in Indonesian politics. As 80% of the population in Indonesia are Muslims, Islamic power inside the government is not to be doubted. They have built this country well according to our ideology. But we have to acknowledge that some parties and movements are too extreme to the extent that it defies Pancasila, which takes into account all official religions to be in equal standing. Islamic radicals across the country shape the identity politics of Indonesia. Identity politics is when people of a particular race, ethnicity, gender, or religion form alliances and organize politically to defend their group's interests. It created a gap between Muslims and Christians. This gap caused ongoing tensions between both sides. Understanding identity politics is crucial, since Islamic identity politics have colored Indonesian systems, implementing a tyrannical democracy, or what is called majoritarian democracy. A system that gives little room for Chinese Christian voices, since it only counts majority votes. The Islamic identity politics and the majoritarian democracy that we have today should be questioned for its credibility and success in actualizing Pancasila. Pluralistic values in Indonesia are fading, and this is a critical issue that draws back this country's development. One major incident that relates to the issue of ongoing discrimination towards Christian Chinese Indonesian in today's time is the famous case of Ahok's religious blasphemy in 2017. Due to political reasons and riots by the Muslim majority, Ahok was convicted in prison for 2 years. If we are to compare this to when Professor Andi Hamzah commented about cohabitation being linked to an individual being Christian on national television, it is not called as religious blasphemy against Christianity. Cases of double standards in Indonesia has been so common that people are starting to think that it is normal, when it's not. One factor contributing to the growth of discrimination against Christian Chinese Indonesians is the pribumi mentality. It's a severe concept that results in negative perspectives towards non-natives. This false mentality is often used to divide groups and create disorder. And it is such a shame if we fall into this mentality, when in reality, pribumi itself does not exist according to the Association of Indonesian Archaeologists. Our Constitution, UUD 1945, recognizes Pancasila as its sole foundation. It protects minority rights to be treated equally under the law. It gives us a guarantee to be protected by any discriminatory actions. However, our political system has turned a blind eye over it. Though it seemed bleak, it is never too late to fight against discrimination. Other countries experience the same thing, and they have made regulations to fight against it. The United Kingdom elected an Islamic Pakistani descendant as Mayor of London in 2016, as well as legalizing the Equality Act 2010 to protect the rights of the people against race discrimination, allowing citizens of all culture to practice their passion in politics with equal rights. Sukarno states, "The Republic of Indonesia does not belong to any group, does not belong to any religion, does not belong to any tribe, does not belong to any custom, but belongs to all of us, from Sabang to Merauke." We can never develop if we keep on categorizing each other based on religion and race, meaning that Indonesia is not supposed to have an Islamic identity politics, as well as a majoritarian democracy, since our foundation lies in diversity, not majority resemblance. Indonesia's way of resolving important decisions is by ways of prolonged deliberations designed to achieve a consensus. A system in which consensus-based democracy perseveres. The system is supposed to be implemented to not only give equal voices for minorities, but also to minimize discrimination against the Christian Chinese Indonesians. An unbiased political identity will further equip that system to minimize discrimination. The issue of Islamic identity politics should be highlighted, since Indonesia does not claim itself to be an Islamic country, but rather a religious one. Actualizing a Pancasila-based identity politics holds a nationalistic value, a value that accommodates plurality and tolerance, an ideal that is true to Indonesia's identity as a country. I believe that if we start to eradicate the pribumi mentality and adjust these two systems, discrimination against the Christian Chinese will surely minimize, since laying the right implementation of our political system will impact a lot of areas, including education, with a change in curriculums that promotes anti-discriminatory actions in primary schools, ensuring the study of social behavior and integration that may minimize primordialism and ethnocentric beliefs. As this issue itself is sensitive to Indonesia, many would try to justify what's been happening to the Christian Chinese minority. Many compared Pancasila's effectiveness in today's time to the time after independence, stating that it has grown. It is said to have grown since in today's time the majority normalize it, and the Chinese Christians accept it as faith. In reality, discrimination against them happens so commonly. If we are to build a church, what are the chances of us getting a permit? In Indonesia, that is nearly impossible. How about building a mosque? Undoubtedly easier. If Meliana was not a Chinese descendant, will the Supreme Court have a different result? Will the people not attack? It is time to stop overlooking this issue. It is not okay to let this go on. Many stated that Christian Chinese Indonesians are not interested in engaging in politics. Mass media has shown the case of Ahok's religious blasphemy to be proof of the suppression of minority power inside the government. The famous case resulted in fear, which led to low interest for Christian Chinese Indonesians to engage in politics, acknowledging the immense uncertainties of being attacked. Many also blame Christian Chinese Indonesians for acting like victims when they discriminate against the so-called natives, taking into account their economic standings, which flourished since the time of colonialism. Does success fall gradually from the sky for the ethnic Chinese? Certainly not. What many have left behind when they talked about their impact on the economy is that they persevere against discriminatory actions with hard work. Hard work that contributes to building this country's economy. Jarum, Astra, BCA, Indofood, etc. are all familiar names in Indonesia. What many might not know is that they are created by Chinese descendants. As Chinese Christians in Indonesia take a small portion of the population, and with an ongoing tension, they wouldn't dare discriminate against the majority, since it'll only give room for the majority to attack back. Everyone knows that's a disadvantage for the minority side. Indonesia has not had persecutions like the 1998 incident, since our government still holds nationalist values. Politics may not be pure and clean, but that does not mean we should ignore inequality in society. Ladies and gentlemen, even if the situation in today's time is at a disadvantage for the Christian Chinese Indonesians, we shouldn't let fear take control. If you have a passion for politics, step out and fight for the voice of those who have been discriminated against inside the government. It may be difficult, but it does not mean things can't get better. Imagine having 10 or more Ahoks inside the government. Wouldn't that impact this issue for the better? This is merely a vision if we as Christian Chinese Indonesians continue to remain in the shadows. Consensus-based democracy and Pancasila-based identity politics will only be mere idealist systems if we as a country can't actualize it. And the discrimination against Christian Chinese Indonesians will forever continue if we can't actualize Pancasila as a living ideology in our daily lives. Let us not let Pancasila and UUD 1945 be historical relics. Let us not waste the 350 years of blood, sweat, and tears fighting for unity and social justice. John F. Kennedy once said, "If we cannot now end our differences, at least we can help make the world safe for diversity." Friends, let's build each other up as we build this country as well, for the betterment of our future, for our children, and for theirs. Thank you.